Welcome back to House TV Live. I'm Rick Spence, and with me today is Sarah Robertson with Studio Dearborn out of Mamaroneck, New York, doing beautiful work on House. Over 500,000 saves, which is really off the charts, so everyone's really loving your work. And Sarah's been kind enough to share her own kitchen with us, and a little bit maybe if we get to her dining area as well. So thanks for joining us, Sarah. It's great to have you.
Hey, Rick. I'm so excited to be here today. I can't wait to give you a tour.
Well, it's such a beautiful home, and it has an ageless appeal already, but this is something you've been working on for the last 2 or 3 years. It was a craftsman home. You kind of gutted this space. So tell me a little bit about what the goals were for this space.
Yeah, so we moved into the house 10 years ago, and the main limitation was that this was my in-laws' home, and we wanted to stay true to the original home, but at the same time, we felt that for the way our family lived, that the layout wasn't working. And of course, I wanted to redo my own kitchen. So I wanted it to feel open and bright. So my goal for the kitchen was to get windows on all three walls. I wanted to be able to have a view and feel connected to the outdoors. And, there are birds out there nesting all year round. And secondly, a better connection to our family. The way the old layout was, I felt really cut off. Taking a couple walls down enabled us to completely open things up to the family room so that we can have a conversation while I'm cooking dinner. And it's also open to the dining table where sometimes my kids are there doing homework. To me, the open layout was critical to making the house just feel bigger and more welcoming.
Now, you've got all that natural light, but you had to sacrifice probably some cabinets. So how did you strategize around your cabinets and how you're going to do that and what functionality you needed? How did you attack the cabinetry?
Yeah, the cabinetry was a huge challenge. And literally, I probably worked on it for a solid year, partly because I couldn't make up my mind on things, and partly because it was such a puzzle to make sure we had room for everything. I wanted to, do as few upper cabinets as possible where you're going to see there are floating shelves. I had originally thought I would put a cabinet there, bring it down to the counter, but I decided that it felt like it was going to cut it off from the rest of the room. So I eliminated it from the plan and figured I could always add it in later. We've never really felt like we needed it. So we went ahead with the brass and wood shelves, which just feels, so much more open. So going through and reviewing, every item that I have in my kitchen and making sure that every drawer was kind of maxed out for storage. And I also created a couple of new storage concepts for my own kitchen, which I've now used for my clients. Things like my tea drawer and the diagonal dividers for pots and pans, those were new. And so things like that enabled me to get everything in. It was a puzzle, but at the end of the day, it all worked.
I love the snack storage, the tea drawer, the diagonal storage for the pots and pans is awesome because even if you have a drawer or you don't have a drawer, people are still sort of digging around in there, right? You're sort of digging around, trying to grab stuff. Stuff's on top of stuff. I love that partitioning concept. It's such a great idea. I think you're going to see a lot more of that. And so it's great that your clients are starting to benefit from this as well because you really had to problem solve for yourself. It's a little more personal. And now you can say, hey, I did this in my kitchen. Want to come look? Right? Is this becoming a little bit of a showpiece when you're working with clients? Do you bring them over?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's all part of the plan. So I'll bring them over for our first meeting and we'll do a walkthrough and just see, what resonates with them, what doesn't, and if they've got some new ideas on things that they want to try that I haven't tried before.
Yeah, you probably feel a lot better now that you have a kitchen that's up to snuff, right? Whereas before, well, can I see your kitchen? No, it's not quite ready.
Yeah, I know. It'd be like something out of a movie. No, I think we should meet at Starbucks instead. Yeah,
Right.
I don't have any coffee at home. Yeah, it's worked out so much better.
Let's go into some of the materials and how you sort of complemented you talk about your bigger materials like your countertop, go into the backsplash a little bit, and give me a little bit on that, and also your beautiful hardware.
Yeah, so the countertop is jet mist granite, which is a stone that I had used in my new construction projects years ago, and decided that if I ever redid my dream kitchen, it was going to have jet mist granite. And even though it's not a surface that is gorgeous to look at, it is so very practical, and it's kind of lovely as a supporting actor in the kitchen and kind of lets other things be more at the forefront. It's just so easy to maintain. I wanted to do a stone on the wall, needed to find something that had enough contrast with that countertop. So and we'd use Carrara other places in the house. So I like that continuity. So I picked the Carrara. And then the challenge really for me was in getting the size right and the grout, which meant I don't know how many different sample boards trying out grout colors. Ultimately, I decided that I wanted the smaller mosaic because we didn't really have a lot of room around the windows. And I felt like it was just going to feel nicer if the tiles were smaller. You could see a little bit more of them around framing the windows.
I really love the hardware. It's got a very nice patina on it. Tell me about it.
So the hardware has a fun story. We took a trip to London actually during the renovation, and we were staying at a hotel, and right next door there was just a beautiful hardware store called A&H Brass right in downtown London. And I told the family I was going to just jump in there for a couple minutes to see what they had. And it was sort of like, Disneyland for hardware and found what I wanted like immediately. Never seen it in the States. And so we bought them, shipped them home. We actually stripped them. We got a huge bucket of stripper and stripped them all so that they would patina naturally. At the beginning, it was kind of an uneven patina, and I'm sure some people would have felt uncomfortable with it, but we just kind of let it go. And, it's evening out over the years, and it looks beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. It gives it so much more character. Now, anchoring the kitchen is this beautiful walnut countertop on your island. Maybe not a practical move. What's your position on that? I mean, it's awesome.
Well, it's been there for 4 years now, and I got to say, it's the easiest thing. It's scratched a little, but the scratches tend to kind of fill in with use, and you can't really see them after a while. We've never recoated it. It's just been fantastic, and it brings in a sense of warmth. And one of the things I really love is when you get seating on an island and people are sitting there, it's nice that the surface that they're going to sitting at is warm wood as opposed to being stone.
Let's go into your sink a little bit. I prefer just one big opening for a sink. You've got a fairly large stainless in there. And tell me about what you prefer in terms of having a sprayer versus a faucet with it built in, that kind of thing, and what your approach was.
Yeah, so we started with a beautiful faucet that had a side sprayer that was all solid brass. And we discovered that the side sprayer was difficult to use, and having a solid metal sprayer is also quite heavy. And I wanted to have a sprayer that you could literally just turn on and not have to hold it, which is what you get when you have a pull-down sprayer. So we switched the faucet to this beautiful faucet from California Faucets just a couple months ago. And it was funny because my husband, who usually doesn't care about these things, was saying, "Oh my God, it's so much better." But it's still, the faucet is still that raw brass. So it's developing a little bit of a patina, and it's going to kind of, wear in and look like it's always been there.
And I see in this kitchen, you've taken all souls into consideration, including the cat. Tell me about your cat feeding area, because I think a lot of pet owners would love that. And it's a great use of the toe kick too.
The cat drawer was an absolute necessity. And our kitty, she likes to eat very fast and frequently. We feed her 4 times a day, and it takes her about 10 seconds to eat. And I just wanted something so that bowl was hidden away in between meals, which is not only nice because we're not looking at it, but it's also nice because she's, hopefully not thinking about it so much. The
next step will be some kind of automated drawer that sort of rolls in and rolls back. Maybe the dog can, press on it, or it's like motion activated. I don't know.
I considered that with one of my last clients. I wanted there to be like a step pedal for them to actually run an automated, like a little watering station for them.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah.
She didn't think her dogs are quite smart enough to work that, but there's a dog out there, trust me, that could do that.
There's one. You're going to find one. A very well-trained dog. If they're hungry enough, you'll figure it out. You mentioned that windows and light and all that in the space was super important, but you sacrificed some wall space, which means you probably had a challenge with your refrigerator, which looks a little bit narrow, and some other things. So tell me about the challenge with refrigeration in the space.
Yeah, so I decided to leverage the fact that, a lot of refrigeration now is kind of moving to this column system. So instead of doing a side-by-side refrigerator freezer, which would have eliminated our ability to have a window on that wall, we went with a full-height refrigerator and then an under-counter freezer, which then is, directly underneath the microwave. Just gave us this space that we needed so that we could get that window in, we could still get the microwave in, and it just worked out perfectly. I could never have made a side-by-side work in there.
I love the bar. It's just a nice little moment.
The bar is not only, it's nice that it's pretty and it has a little bit of a different vibe from the kitchen, but it also serves like a really important purpose over there. Holds all of our better glassware. We're able to serve drinks when we have company. And I make my smoothies there. So we have the frozen drawer for the frozen fruit. Then, there's also an extra drawer where we have liquor. So like every inch is kind of maxed out in that cabinet, as well as the refrigeration kind of being a nice spot for overflow from our main fridge.
I see a little duck painting. Is it?
The painting of the duck. Yeah, that was a recent auction find.
Yeah, I love it.
I just saw it. I'm like, that's kooky. I need that.
No, that's the kind of thing I like at my bar.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
I
great.
have weird things sort of scattered in all over the house, and that's one of the latest.
All right, so the kitchen is just beautiful. Congratulations on that. I know you're going to get many, many years out of that. Fits perfectly in with that craftsman style, and I think you've paid a beautiful homage to the existing home. Now, if you got a few minutes, let's step into the dining area adjacent to that. Tell me a little bit about that dining space.
Yeah, so the dining space was built out by my father-in-law. That was originally a deck on the side of the house. He added the ceiling and the skylights just bring in so much light. It really lightens up the entire back half of the first floor, having those two skylights there. What I wanted to change was I wanted a bigger table because that became our full dining room. The table we had custom made, and then we found the chairs and had them refinished. And those are vintage tonette. So they're just kind of a fun bentwood addition that kind of just sort of blends with everything. I wanted it to feel, a little funky and casual. We added the slider. So originally there was a window there and we needed access to the deck. We converted the window to a slider.
And tell me about your light in there.
Oh, the light. Yeah. So the light, again, was something that I did very early, even before we did the kitchen. I really wanted something that felt industrial with a lot of light bulbs hanging down. Was having a terrible time figuring out how to make it on my own, and found these lights online that were smaller, and I bought two of them, and my electrician took them apart and combined them into one big one, and then hung it up, and it all worked great. So it has 13 bulbs, but only 12 of them work because he wasn't able to get the wires in on the 13th bulb.
Really? Is that some kind of strange omen on that? That's a little nutty.
As a good luck omen. It's been a good good luck omen. It throws off so much light, and that was my goal. Was I really wanted to have a bright light there for homework, but then of course it's on a dimmer, and so we can tone it down for when we're having dinner.
And what's going on above the sliders? Is that like an old collection of yours up there?
Yeah, so I was a big pewter collector. I collected pewter measures specifically for many years. And when we moved, I had so many that I actually sold them off at auction, but I kept a couple sets and found that was kind of a perfect place to put them. We had a couple of walnut shelves left over from the kitchen that hadn't worked for various reasons. So we had those put up there, and that's got sort of the remnants of my enormous pewter collection.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah. This was really awesome. What a beautiful space. Thanks for taking the time. I can't wait to see more of your beautiful work with your clients. Thanks for joining us. Hope we can do it again sometime.
This has been so much fun for me, Rick. I hope we get to do it again too.
Absolutely. We'll see you.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.